Good evening. It's Professor S over here at Collective Thought with the young OG Twizzy and the real OG Rich. And today we have a very, very, very special guest. He's known by many names. I know him as Johnny Beanz. I know him as Beanzarelli the Don. I know him as uh, Beans
Oh man.
ALR, addictive lifestyle. What do you know him
Oh
as, Twiz?
man.
Yeah, I know him as the Applebee's guy from originally. Originally,
Right. So I also know him as I usually don't do this quickly, but I know him from a different stature. He had a little we met interesting, so we'll start off with that. But I really want to on a serious note, we haven't dedicated a episode to anyone specifically. Without you even knowing, Johnny, I want to dedicate this episode to your uncle. Jerry Adamas, one of the most
Appreciate it.
professional guys that I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, man.
Talk to him about some finances stuff and some life insurance stuff. And I know it's heavy on your heart, man. And he was a stand-up guy just like you are, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. My uncle was just big on the finance stuff. He was a financial advisor, man, and being from the hood, we shouldn't be limited to just working hard. You know what I'm saying? He knew how to make the money work for him. And he tried to make me understand all that stuff. So shout out to him for just, putting that in my head. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So Johnny, man, what do you think? What do you think is going on with our show, man? What do you believe our show to be? What is it? What is it about? What have you seen? What do you like? And even honestly, your family. So what do you dislike? We could talk about that too.
As far as the show, man, I think it's cool because it's definitely giving people how you AYN alter your narrative. It gives them a different perspective on things. I think being from, quote unquote, the hood, people have this perception of people and the way they should be and the way certain individuals that might be more out there on social media or whatever depicted. But, coming from, like I said, the hood, I know a lot of successful people, man, a lot of people that do real estate. I know a bunch of teachers, guidance counselors, you know what I'm saying? Lawyers. My friend, Will Ramos actually is just passed the bar and he's working for the Suffolk County District Attorney. He's a Suffolk County DA, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's great, man.
Yep.
Yeah, real talk. So I think it's just cool to hear people's stories and to get a different perspective on the one that's fed to you by the masses, for lack of better words.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad he branded up because what we typically do here, man, from Rich, all four of you guys are family to me. But this goes back a few months, me, Twizzy conversations, and even me and you, John, when I called you, super excited about this. But it evolved from that. But what it really is, man, I have so much friends and people I associate myself with that are so positive and so successful, and although they're not rich and famous, I think we needed to be that voice to give them their trophies. That's our thing, right? So giving you your trophies, man, and giving you your trophies while you're still here, right? And what I really want to talk to you about today, is a whole bunch of things, but one of the biggest thing, and I told you this in text the other day, and I really mean it, man. I've seen you take care of a lot of people in our neighborhood. I've seen you take care of your brothers, your sisters. I've seen you take care of other people's kids that you don't even have a relationship with, just, giving them some money financially. I've seen you take younger guys under your wings. But the biggest thing what we're going to talk about today, man, and it's kind of like Twizzy's episode. Me personally, one of the things that I give the most respect for as a person who takes care of their kids. You guys all know me as a father. You know how much effort I put into it. When it comes to image and identity, there's zero way that I could be as identified without, Joe and my son Joey, and that's intentional. I want to be the furthest thing from my father that I could possibly be, which is a great, loving, caring father. And I see that with Twizzy, and I see that with you, man. And I want to give you a trophy today, and I want to explain the scenario
Appreciate it, brother.
That you're in, and it's not a bad scenario, but Twizzy got married, and he's been with his children's mother for a long time, which is amazing. Just altering his narrative and getting married.
Shout out to Twiz.
Yep. Shout out to Twiz buying a house, right? Shout out to Twiz.
Thank
And
you,
also
thank you,
being
thank you.
a stepdad, which again, for years and years and years, I told him all the time, but that's a role that I don't think I can play. I've never been in that situation where I had to be, but I think it's the most difficult thing to be. Your situation is a little different, John. Um, you you found a girl, and we don't have to mention any names. And your daughter, she's your daughter for all
Yeah,
intents and
yeah, man.
purposes, right? Tati's your
Yeah, yeah.
daughter. You know, a beautiful, beautiful young girl. How old is she now? 16, 15?
15, man. 15.
15, right?
Yeah.
So for our
Raised her since she was 3.
yeah, there you go, right? So, for our viewers, John was with a woman since the girl Dati was 3 years old, and he's even there, even though they're not together anymore. And I think I can't even fathom being a stepfather to a child, and then even when you guys aren't even in a relationship anymore, you're still a father to that child. And there's nothing I think on this world that's gonna get you blessings more than that, man. And I just want to give you your trophy for that today. We'll get into it, man. But brother, man, I'm so proud of you, man. Every time I see you, I know we talked about it the other day, man. You shed a little tear, man. You love her so much. You really did a great job molding her, man. And I can't get over, because even before we started recording, we were talking about co-parenting and its difficulties, but I don't know if I can be as adult and mature enough as you and Twizzy, and especially you, because you're not together with Dati's mom anymore.
Yeah, man.
So we're gonna jump back and forth, right? So one of the interesting things we do too is talk about Brentwood and all these wonderful people that we know, and kind of altering the narrative of even the views of people like us, right? One of our friends, and I always bring it up, Donovan, right? Over there at Linehouse. Shout to Donovan, right? But we were riding our bikes, getting our grown exercise on at Jones Beach, and he was talking to me, and he's like, I said this in, I think, Rich's episode, but he said, man, it's crazy. Brentwood has so much successful people, so much influential people. This was a conversation over Ray PSG, shout to Ray, and Twizzy, right? And we were talking about how dynamic they are, how talented they are, right? And he leans to me and said, man, there's so many people. I mean, look at you and your sister. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, look at your sister. You guys are so successful. You're so positive. And I don't really associate myself like that. But when you take a microscope to it, I love that. I love that, because all four of us here, right? We're just doing what we're supposed to do. But there was so much odds against us. None of us really had our dads in our lives, right, Johnny? So we're going to start. I want to start with how we met, because it's so important, right? So me, Rich, and Twizzy are all from Regis Park. And, Rich lived on Patton. So Doolittle and Patton fellas have a different life than, Bradley going that way on the east side of Regis. And then also, after Patton, from McNair on is also a different world too. But me and Rich were kind of in the center of Regis. So we had friends who were going to the east side, East High School, East Middle School now, right? And then we had Northsiders, right? But you were on the east side of Brentwood, right?
East, man.
East, right off of Fulton Street on West End, right? West End. And how much years are you younger than me? How old are you now?
30. I'm about to be 38.
30. Oh, all right. So only 2 years younger than me, right? But
you graduate 99, right?
Yeah, graduate 99. I was supposed to. I actually got held back until January 2000. Don't tell my sister, man. She gonna rub it in. But me, as a person who holds a master's degree in social work and a bachelor's degree in sociology, it literally nothing enlightens me more than assessing how things work, right? And even in that small different age bracket, right, with me and you, Brentwood was so much different just from 2 years, right? And even you look at Twizzy, right? We talked about Twizzy the other day with his weird push-ups, right? Yeah. So that plays heavily into how he integrates into society, into Brentwood, outside of Brentwood.
Socially.
But I always like to tell a story. We're not going to get into it, like, but Johnny and I were big Latino men, and we had kind of the impression that we were super tough guys, and some people thought we were super tough guys, and even we probably at some points thought we were super tough guys.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say cousin just because people thought we were cousins. We weren't cousins, to be honest, right? This is exclusive, right, Rich? He's not really my cousin, but he told everybody he's my cousin. But my cousin Emmanuel comes home one day. He's super excited. He's like, yo, you got to go find this guy, Johnny, on the east side. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm not even in high school. What do you mean? He was like, nah, he disrespected us. And I'm like, he disrespected us? I'm going to work. What do you mean? So, as he pulls me into this story, I'm like, we'll see what again. I'm like, what did he do to you? And he said, he slapped me in front of everybody. All right. And then he tells me, Joe, he's huge. He's big like you. So you got to take him out. I'm like, all right. I mean, I don't know how this has to do with me, whatever it is. Right. But at that time, we all worked at Whitman Packaging. Right. So I work with my little younger guys, Victor and Jose. Shouts to Vic and Jose. And we pull up and we sit down at this line, and across from our line where we're packaging stuff, who's sitting right there? Johnny Beanz. So I'm looking at this guy, and he looks at me, and I'm gonna let you tell the rest of the story because I like your twist on it too, right? So what happened there, John?
So this dude's looking at me, and I'm like,
which dude? Me?
You. Yeah. So Joe's looking at me, and at that age, you're young, dumb, and full of cum, and you ready for anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, do I know you? He's like, yo, your name, so and so. I forgot if you said Johnny or Beans or whatever.
Johnny, Johnny.
Yeah. He named Johnny. I said, yeah, what's up? He's like, he said, what'd you say? You slapped my cousin Emmanuel. I say, yeah.
Yeah, man. It was funny because even at that point, his honesty, and that was really the point. So for the viewers, it's not about being tough and approaching the principle of this is that he was honest. We were direct. If someone's going to directly tell you something after a confrontation, years later, you could laugh about it. And this guy's been probably one of my best friends outside of my neighborhood for how long? 20 years now, maybe?
21, 22 years.
Yeah, right. What's interesting too,
99,
yeah. So John had a cool look to him. He had super long hair. Yeah, I remember his giant Jesus earrings. And he approached me again, and this is what it's about, man. It's that positivity, that maturity, right? And he said, we were working at a group home at that time. He's like, yo, man, you think you give me a job? So I pulled him in. We had a long time. I'm like, listen, man, I could pull some strings. I could recommend you. But is this for you? And he was like, nah, man.
Nah, for nothing. The backstory to that, not to cut off your wisdom.
Nah, go ahead.
I just beat a case. I had a medicine with a weapon charge. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was young, dumb, and I wanted really to get my life in order. You know what I'm saying? And I knew Joe, and he was always doing like the good thing. You know what I'm saying? And I really wanted to. After that situation, because I think I hollered at Joy first. You know what I'm saying? I think she was working there.
Okay.
And then it
no,
was
actually you were before Joy because you might have hollered at Mookie first because Mookie worked there right after me.
Was it? Yeah,
had to be Mookie.
I hollered at somebody, and then not for now. I love Mookie. Everybody knows I love Mookie. But I was like, oh, Joe, yeah, I'll go to Joe. And and he said, is it for you? Boom, boom, boom. But at that time, I made a conscious effort to change. Like, I gotta be whatever. So, and I'm not the type of person, like, if you're gonna put your neck out for me, I'm not gonna make you look stupid or because I wouldn't want that done to me, especially, him giving me the chance. And this was something totally out the ordinary, was taking care of kids with developmental disabilities. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, it's funny, John, because shouts to Myron, by the way. Myron's a friend of all of us too, but he always told me, man, he said when he was a kid, he always looked to me, not because I was a tough guy or I was a gangster guy. He said, you always did what you were supposed to do. And you never involved yourself with petty stuff. None that would get you in trouble. You always had your headlights on, right? So that's a big compliment for me too, John. Thanks for that, man.
Absolutely. Like it was just somebody you could go to for like positive. And went to Joe for, hey Joe, what do you think about me going to school? What do you think about this? And Joe, all right, and Joe always lays things out for me to try and give me the opportunity or open those doors just in case I did want to take that route. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I did, ask for it.
Yeah,
So,
man. It's all about, like you said, putting in the work, that loyalty, that, like you said, like if I put my name out for you, I want you to do the same for me and not mess up my name. I mean, I'm like that, Rich, like I said, Rich is the closest person to me. He knows me when, you know, in middle school, we summer school together. He knows me from crying. He knows he's been inside my house. He's there the day my dad left. We've been in so long. But Rich is even tougher on people to let them in his circle. And for you and Twizzy, man, he likes you both, which again is a big, that's the
Appreciate
biggest
it,
compliment
Rich.
ever, you man. He likes you both, and that's it, right? So John, there's a, and you may not know this, but there's a few things that you said to me that never, ever, 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 ever left my mind. And as we go into giving you your accolades about being a stepfather who's not even with the baby's mother, I think that's phenomenal. But you told me one time, and you told me about your situation with your dad, and again, if I'm overstepping boundaries, just pull me back. But about your dad with having the relationship with your mom and aunt, what was the aunt's name? On the weekends you would go to aunt whose house?
Who?
Yeah, you were telling about your aunt. So your dad had another relationship too, right?
Oh no, my stepmother.
Stepmother. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. So, but what did you call her? What did you call her though?
Maria.
All right. So Maria's house. My bad, right? So Maria's house, right? So your dad had kids with Maria too?
Yeah, my little brothers. Both. First it was my brother Patrick, and then I got a sister. She passed away in 2007, and then my two.
So that's Patrick's mom. Shouts to Patrick, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And you told me once, and as we, me and John had a lot of very, very in-depth emotional conversations, and you said once, and I asked about marriage, and you like, man, Joe, I really don't know, man. I mean, look at my dad, you told me. All I saw was my dad having two women. So when it comes to marriage, I don't want to marry a woman unless I'm 100% sure, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be 100% sure. And I thought that was real, and I know you for a long time, and you don't lie, and you don't hide behind the bush, beat around the bush. My bad. And I know that you tell women that, so it's not like it's a surprise. And again, I want to commend you on being honest. But when you assess that, think about that social learning there, guys. I got to sneak in that social work times, right? And but that social learning, right? So if all you see, guys, is your dad, and he's with your mom for X amount of time, and then he goes to his other family for another amount of time, at what point do you think that will change or not change? And there's no answer to that. But for John, and like I said, just being emotionally intelligent enough, right, to tell the women he gets into these relationships, he's like, listen, I'm not going to do it unless I'm 100% sure to marry you. And right now, I'm not 100% sure. So until I'm 100% sure I'm going to marry you, that's not going to happen. Is that still how you feel nowadays, Big John?
Yeah. I mean, look, why are we gonna? I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic, right? So it's till death do you part, good or bad, and that it's in the vows. You know what I'm saying? But me growing up, just looking at my father, it was always two women. It was Mommy and Maria. You know what I'm saying? And he had a relationship with both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was cool with my mom, but he loved Maria. And then even after him and my stepmother broke up or whatever, he got a divorce. He went back to my mother to, for that comfort or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my stepmother. She's always been great to me. You know what I'm saying? Always been,
that was my next question. Now he would take you, Jenny, shout out to Jenny, right? Rest in peace. And George over there, he would take all three of them like to Maria's house?
Yeah, I mean, it was their house. Yeah, it was their house. I mean, at the time,
Oh, so you would be with your mom, and then in order to visit him was that household?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, how did she treat you guys?
Oh, my stepmom was great, bro. I still love my stepmom to this day.
Yeah.
I'll do a lot of things for my stepmom, man. Like, real talk. She's just a beautiful person, always her and my mom. I mean, that I know of. I don't know if they had static, back when or whatever, but I've always seen them be two grown women. And, my stepmom, I mean, my mom always asked about my stepmom. They talk to each other.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I'm saying?
Now it's funny because like I'm really like, like I said, I bring it up just right before, we started recording. It was me and my son's mother have a very difficult time, whatever the case may be, about just communicating and co-parenting. But do you think that seeing that has made you the person that's a supreme communicator, even with your current girlfriend? You were telling me a story about how you were talking about with her baby's daddy and helping him out and getting more time with him and pulling him to the side, like, listen, man, you got to do this, this, and this. Yeah, that picture's on there, Beans, man. Thanks for that. Thanks for making me not hold my composure. So you were telling me about, and the new girlfriend. What's her name? I apologize.
Rebecca.
Becky, right? So
Yeah.
you were telling about her baby daddy. Now, do you think witnessing that is the key to you being such a good, ostentatious, cooperative communicator, or is it part of your personality? What would you say is more?
Definitely, you become a product of your environment, right? So a lot of the things when I sit back and now, because I'm a thinking man, right? So a lot of the things that I am now, I've seen or I was around. You understand what I'm saying? So seeing two people co-parent and have a great relationship, that was just part, like, we got to talk. We have to do this. We have to do that. And it might have been subliminally because, I was a kid while they were doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you take onto that stuff, and then you have my Uncle Jerry, rest in peace, my Uncle Jerry, my cousin Nicky, he passed away, right? He passed away in 96. Him and his ex-wife, which was Nicky's mom, they have that in common. They lost a child together, bro.
Wow.
My uncle's wife, Joanne, my aunt Joanne, and my uncle's ex-wife, Dee, bro, they best friends.
Yeah.
Real talk. My uncle's the godfather of his ex-wife's daughter.
Oh man, that's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just always, I was seeing all this stuff. Like, so it was like, you know what? It's better to be, you get more bees with honey. You understand? So it's like, yo, we could communicate, we could talk with human beings. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to agree,
Yeah.
But as long as we talk it and we come to a common ground.
Do you think any of that is like fake stuff, or is it like genuine? Like when you're, like, for you specifically, like if you're trying to talk to your girlfriend's baby daddy, or even talking to Dati's new mother's love interest, like, is that genuine with you, or is part of it like I'm gonna introduce my favorite word ever, dramaturgical, right? So dramaturgical shouts to my man Professor Neidhart, my favorite social welfare student. I can't believe I haven't used this word earlier, but dramaturgical means that people are constantly in the state of acting for the audience that they're in front of. So the person I'm talking to in front of Johnny is different from when I talk to Rich, which is totally different from how I talk to Twizzy, which is totally different how I talk to people at work, which is totally different from so on and so on. So it's the belief that you're constantly in this state of acting for your audience, and it changes with each audience. So do you think that when you talk to not only Becky's baby daddy or, and Tati's mom's love interest at the time, do you think it's all genuine with you, or is it part of it, that dramaturgy where you're acting in a way to kind of get something from it?
No, I think you're genuine. Well, me, I can't speak for everybody else. Mm-hmm. I think it's just me being genuine. I mean, talking from Dati's mom's, the first, I don't even want to talk about that, but like, let's say the dude, when we first broke up, we ain't talk. I was very aggressive. Mm-hmm. There wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the dude later on in a couple of years later or whatever the case is, I gave him that respect because I didn't have those feelings anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole different vibe. The
feelings for Tati's mom, or feelings in general?
Feelings for her mom, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm a man at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I know when I'm wrong. And in the beginning, the person she was dealing with, I went about that wrong, bro. Real talk, because he was a really good dude. Like, real talk, he was a really good dude.
Now, even that,
And
how can now is it a thing that was instilled as you as a youth, or like even that? I think it's so awesome that you're able to say, I messed that up. I caused those turbulence. I was a jerk. You think
yeah,
that's just with you in general, or something you learned, or something that you got as you matured?
to own up to my shit.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad, my faults.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I've always been like that. I've always, I mean, there was nah, I can't say that. As you grow up, mature, yeah. I mean,
So a little bit
ever
of both.
since I,
So it's part of your personality, and it's also as you mature, it's easier to kind of.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
got a quick question,
Sure.
just to clarify and to go back to what you were saying. So, do you think that in the circumstance with your dad, your mom, your stepmom, the normalcy of it, or as I like to believe, the normalcy of it is kind of what helped you grow to understand how these interpersonal relationships work amongst the potential turmoil?
I grew up knowing that there was different dynamics. I know I grew up knowing that sometimes there's two moms and two dad. You know what I'm saying? And a
Exactly,
stepdad or whatever the case is.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
I
do you,
grew up like that.
and do you think that that helped you get to a point where you can acknowledge faults in yourself when you're in a relationship or on the cusp of a relationship and there's other dynamics brought in, like case in point how you just said you were able to kind of man up after a point in time when the emotions were disengaged for yourself? Do you think that that aided you in getting to that point, or you just drew that conclusion by yourself? You got what I'm saying?
Um, I mean, when I sit back and think about it, it definitely aided me. But at the time, like I said, your emotions take over things. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I, I, and I don't like to move on emotion
Mm-hmm.
because it never ends up good for anybody,
This is
right?
true.
So that was just a bad situation because the dude was a really good dude. Like real talk, he got his stuff together. He was, you know, my daughter had a relationship. He was very nice to her. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
whatever happened between her and him, and I feel I know my part in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took a while. It took a while, but after my emotions subsided, and she was, and I'm like, you know what, she's doing her. I got to do my thing. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. But
Yeah.
emotions, like I said, man, they're crazy, bro. They'll make you do something.
Yes, some things. But I asked that because in the first episode we were going over ACEs, the ACE assessment, and we were talking about the things that you were subjected to, and not that this is a negative thing, but just it makes me think like things that we're subjected to as children that we sometimes either comprehend or don't comprehend, and how it shapes and molds us into the people we are in the future and how we deal with things. You know what I mean? So it just kind of came around full circle. So that's why I kind of wanted to clarify, because there's some things that it's just instilled in you because you've dealt with it for so long. And then there's some things that you have an idea of and you build upon it. And then there's some things that you develop by yourself. So I just wanted to bring it kind of around full
Oh
circle.
yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, uh yeah,
You know,
when you're around
Johnny, as you're
something,
thinking there, so for the viewers who didn't see episode one with Rich, Twizzy's talking about the adverse childhood experiences, right? So in
Mhm.
theory, the more adverse childhood experiences you have, the more difficult it is to navigate through life. And
Yeah.
this is really what, when we talked about Rich's episode, me, Twizzy, and Rich, right? So we have all these complex traumas and all these traumas that are built up and built on us that we're in theory not supposed to be out of Regis Park. We're not supposed to be functioning in the world. I think what Twizzies is saying too, like, would you consider that as a negative thing that relationship was going on? Would you add that to kind of your negative growing up, or was it a positive
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
thing?
oh, positive.
It was positive.
Yeah.
Good. It's funny because I remember our conversations and we talked about it. And you're like, I understood that everybody had, one family and I was atypical from them. And he was like,
Yeah.
during the week I was a mommy and then I would go, I think you used to say, I think you told me Titi Maria, but maybe that's me just making it up. But you did say, and then on the weekends we would go to Maria's house. Um,
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was so fascinating to me. Again, being a sociology major originally and a social work major in my master's, but the way that, right? So it's so atypical, right? That for you, but it just became normal to you, right? Um, but we talked about the ability, and I want to give you this, before we close out the first part of this thing. But one of the lowest points in my life when I was dealing with some custody issues with my son, I want to on air give you your trophy that you came over with Tati's mom, and you talked me down from a very emotional, difficult place. And for
Oh
that,
man,
you've always been in my heart, man. So if you ever need anything, man, just from that specific day,
appreciate
man,
it, brother.
I know the
You
day I
you
was.
you're just you're a great dude, bro, and I know. Man, I know your son means a lot to you, bro. So being your friend or whatever. If that was the littlest thing I could have did for you, bro, and if and I just I'll do that shit all over. I'll do it for any one of y'all, to be honest with you, because I think growing up without a father. I mean, let me not say that because I grew up with a bunch of father figures, but without a dad, the quote unquote DAD dad, the guy you came with. My dad was an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? He did drugs. You want to be better, to know that my friends are out here being better dads. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to be the best dad, and I love my dad. I forgive him. You know what I'm saying? He has 7 kids, and I'm the only one that messed with him. You just, I would do it for any one of my friends that's really trying to be a good dad for real. Like, you know.
Yeah, man. I remember conversation and again, me, Rich, and Twizzy, we're from a place where it's so incestuous, and we know everybody who knows everybody, right? So Twizzy was actually talking the other day about how his mom used to and not to hang out, but knew about my aunt Mary Lou and my aunt Maritza, and it's so for you on the other side, I remember this conversation, and you were like, you know. I'm proud that all my friends are great fathers. He said, "Look at you." He said, "Look at what do they? What do you call Caps now? Sean's his real
Sha.
name, right? Shaw.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So you're like, look at you, Joe. Look at Shaw. You bring up a few other people, man, and I think I just want to add you to that list, man. And before we cross over again, man, a lot of people kind of get confuddled as to why we invite you on the show, and not that you're not successful in many different ways, but again, there's nothing that I'm more proud of you than being Tati's dad, bro.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, man.
So
Appreciate it.
as we transition again, just want to give you your trophy for that, and we'll give you trophies, in part B. But that specifically is what we're here for, brother. And again, I wanted to thank you for that time. Like I said, even as adults, we get kind of traumatized with some stuff. And that day when you came over, and just knowing that you would come over, you're like, I'll get there 5 minutes, bro. Whatever it was, 5-10 minutes. And I thank you, man. And I want to give you your trophies for that too, brother.
Appreciate it, man. I'm glad everything worked out. I mean, working out so far, right?
Working out the best it could. It could be better. Oh, don't get Rich started, man. Rich is like those moms, you know what I'm saying? That you let them loose, it's over right there. All right, so we're gonna transition. Twizzy, man, you haven't named the episode, man.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. I'm about to hold on. I'm gonna spin it up and get it in.
We still got a minute left, so I don't know if you can pull
Beans will give
Yo, it's called The Best of Beans.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. The Best
Beans
of
Beans is going to
Beans.
give us something. Beans is going to give us something that's going to become the title.
All right, so part B, Best of Beans coming to right after this.